the opportunity as far as that card specifically, it was just great. So it's been awesome. You know, I think people actually are noticing me for me now, which is kind of interesting. Like before, like it was always, oh, you know, you're Shane's son, and or you're Sugar Shane's son, stuff like that. And now it's like, oh, dang, that's Shane Mosley Jr.
Yeah.
My dad is, you know, a burn the boats type of guy. You know what I mean? And he definitely is. If you're gonna do this, you're gonna do this to the best of your abilities. I'm a believer, right? We believe that the only way to the Father is through the Son. Right? There's only one way. I know that you may not like that. You may think that that's wrong or whatever the case is. So what?
Right.
That's the only way.
Yeah.
And that's what I believe. Like, I would say probably Gabe Rosado was that moment.
Gabe Rosado.
Yeah. And that was cool because like he's like my hero, man. Like it was kind of interesting because like he's like the modern day Rocky. He's like the modern day Arturo Gotti. You know what I mean? Like he's that guy who like will fight anybody and just like blood, guts and everything out there and just try to win and become champion.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Verse Us with Eric Nicksick. He is Eric Nicksick. I am Randy Fainrich, and this is Verse Us. And today we have a very special guest coming off probably the biggest win of his career, looking at the title picture at middleweight and super middleweight. Our guest today, Shane Mosley Jr. Welcome to the show.
My guy.
Thank you for having me on, fellas.
Hell yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, we're super excited, man. When Eric told me that you were coming on, I'm a big boxing fan. I've been my whole life. And so, you know, I'm honored to talk to you and excited to talk to you and really looking forward to the conversation. I want to start with the Daniel Jacobs fight, though. Coming off, again, biggest win of your career, big name. That guy's fought everybody. Just what's life been like since that fight, and how are you kind of approaching moving forward after something like that?
Yeah, I mean, it was such an incredible experience. Even the card that it was on, right? Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal, like they called me for that fight, and I was like, yes. Before they even finished the whole sentence, yes. like you know, you don't get an opportunity like that like ever, especially like just. In my opinion, a struggling fighter trying to get to the top, right? You don't get opportunities like that to fight a legend. So when they called me for that, I was like, yes. And then the opportunity as far as that card specifically, it was just great. So it's been awesome. You know, I think people actually are noticing me for me now, which is kind of interesting. Like before, like it was always, oh, you know, you're Shane's son, and or you're Sugar Shane's son, stuff like that. And now it's like, oh, dang, that's Shane Mosley Jr. Right? And people are saying,
carving your own path.
Yeah, and so that's such a cool thing, and I've been wanting to do that for a long, long time. You know, I wanted to be just Shane Mosley Jr. So, and now people are seeing me for that, and the title is not too far away, man. Lara, here I come.
I wanted to ask about that because that he just came off a big win, right, in August or October or something like
Danny
that.
too.
Yep, he did. He beat Danny Garcia. Yeah. Is that who you want next? Like, does that make sense? Do you think for you?
So for me, in my opinion, at my weight class, that's the biggest name there. Even when you talk to Canelo Alvarez right now, and he says all the people that he beat, he lists that guy as one of the guys that he beat.
A lot of people think he won that fight.
Yeah.
A lot of people think he beat Canelo.
I'm one of those guys. But Canelo always references back to that, meaning he has a high prestige. So if he's available for me to fight, why not go for that guy?
Definitely.
In my opinion, you go, whoop, let me pick that name, right? Just like my Danny Jacobs, fight. It's like, and then, not trying to be funny or nothing like that, I can say I was the last guy that ever fought that guy. He, you know what I mean? Like, and he lost, you know what I mean? So I just put that in my cap.
Timeline on that fight?
For the Lara fight?
Yeah, like, is there anything you're trying to push for?
Man, I would love to do it first, second quarter.
Okay.
Like,
Nice.
like
before the summer,
Oh, yeah. I know he likes to take, longer breaks because he's a little bit older. I think he's like 40 now. So he wants to take a little bit longer breaks, but we'll see. Yeah, never know.
Stylistically, how do you see that matchup going with you two? If you could put your analyst hat on,
Well, I would say that I definitely have to be the younger guy, which is, press the pace, stuff like that. He wants to sit back and, be a little bit more fluid and take his time and stuff like that. And if you give that guy any time, he's gonna pick you. He's gonna pick you apart.
Yeah.
So you definitely got to press the pace.
Yeah.
Yep.
Speaking of the card you fought Danny Jacobs on, it is two MMA guys in crossing over into boxing, and obviously a huge card. We were just talking off camera, like what do you make of this whole kind of like crossover, MMA to boxing, the influencer boxing space? Like, just as someone who's a professional in this space, obviously have been around it your whole life because of your dad.
Right.
What do you make of it, in today's landscape?
Bro, I love it. Like, I think it's really, really cool to get those crossover fights. I mean, like, even me, I fought early in my career, MMA guys, you know what I mean? Like, that were coming over and taking last minute fights, just trying to, put money in their pocket, stuff like that. So, you get a lot of that. But what you don't really get is boxing going over to MMA, which that's one of the things that I feel like we were talking about. And I would love to do, because I feel like I'm such a fighter, a martial artist, stuff like that. That's how I look at myself. So I would love to do like a MMA fight, a bare knuckle fight, stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, I think
you want to go across all the combat sports.
Yeah, like if that's, I'm a competitor and I'm a fighter.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And that's the way I look at myself. If you look at yourself and you put yourself in a small bubble, then that's all you're gonna be. But if you put yourself in like I am all of those things, because we are essentially brothers.
Yeah. And for context, he trains with us. He's at our gym constantly. And not only is he at our gym, but he's there watching, and he's there partaking, and he's like asking questions. What are you guys doing, this, and this? Furthermore, he's a huge resource for us as well. Yeah. So there's like a brotherhood amongst us as MMA guys, and having Shane in the gym. Mm-hmm. Not only Shane, his dad's in there all the time.
Yeah.
Seeing his dad, bro, is like, when I see his dad, it's like if you went to the library and didn't check out a book. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, every time I see his dad, and I don't want to bug him with anything, but I always got to ask him a question.
Yeah.
Something. Like, you see Shane Mosley in the gym, you got to pick his brain about something. I remember one day just talking to him about the jab, and him going over like 17 different variations, and I'm just a kid, like learning. So like, having these guys in the gym for us as MMA guys is such a resource, man. I love having them.
Do you is there anyone in particular, like, you feel like would make sense to cross over into MMA and fight? Not saying like obviously a big top of the bill guy, but anyone that you've seen train both MMA and boxing before?
I mean, some of the guys that I love is like Dustin Poirier, right? I think he's like great. Like, just like, not saying I would want to fight him, but like one of the guys is just a
when you
dog.
watch his style.
Yeah, I love it. You know what I mean? And he's like, kind of always done like, this.
Yeah, who doesn't like Poirier? Chandler?
He's the only guy.
Who doesn't like Poirier? Fuck. Like, stop, Chandler.
Yeah. Honestly,
stop, bro.
Please stop.
Please stop, bro.
Please stop.
So, but yeah, guys like that, like Michael Johnson, guys like that, like, who just like really put in the time, put in the effort, and just, you see like them just always grinding. Like, I love guys like that. You know what I mean? As far as fighting, when I get to that bridge, I'd cross it. But it'd be anybody.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on when you see Strickland's boxing? How do you feel about it when you watch him box?
I feel like he's very talented. You see that he knows what he's doing. He's put a lot of work and time in his craft,
in his style.
Yeah, and that's why he beat guys like Izzy.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's because like he's really honed in on who he is, and he can beat you with that.
Yeah, he's a guy that I think that could do well. Crossover. Yeah. Sean, go into boxing and compete.
Yeah.
And do well just because of his style.
Yeah. Who are some guys in MMA that you think, because you hear the guys that talk about it all the time, but like Sean is someone that's never talked about, but everyone has said like he's actually got like pretty damn good boxing.
Yeah.
Who are some other guys maybe you've seen that no one talk about that you're like, oh, his boxing's actually pretty good?
Sean O'Malley for sure.
Yeah.
I feel like Izzy could do well with the right guy.
Manel,
yes.
Manel can box,
for
yeah.
sure.
Manel's dad used to be was a boxer. Manel
Really?
came up as a boxer.
Yeah.
But I think just a fun, like, Prince Nassim, like, style, you know what I mean? Like,
you think he'd be doing all this
in the
how
ring?
could he
not?
Yeah.
How could he not?
He'd have to be himself.
Yeah.
MVP, Michael Venom Page.
That'd be a good one.
There's a lot of guys that could, go over and and stuff like that. But also too, you gotta think it's such a different pace too.
Yeah.
Like from the 3 minutes to 5, people don't think it's that big of a difference, but I feel like it is.
Max.
Yeah.
Max Holloway, Cater.
Yeah,
Cater
Topuria.
Yeah.
I think Topuria's got really good boxing. Like,
Bro,
I mean,
I'll tell you another one too, like low key, Dan Ige.
yeah,
Dan Ige can fucking box.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I've been encouraging him more to go into go see Capetillo, just go into more boxing gyms just for the experience alone.
Yeah.
But like Boston Salmon came up boxing.
Yeah.
But I think it hones more about your defense.
Yep.
More than anything. And understanding being fluid, the footwork, but defensive. And I'll go and watch Zellhuber box in there. Man, I think it just raises your game so much more.
Well, didn't he say when he was here, he was sparring Plant for the?
Yep.
He was sparring the guy that fought Plant.
Oh, the guy that fought Plant.
Yeah,
I thought you
who's the
said
guy
he
that
was
just
sparring.
Trevor
Yes,
McCumbee.
Trevor.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
and that's high level.
It was
Yeah.
high level. They went 12 rounds.
Damn.
And Zellhuber was one of his main sparring partners.
Yeah.
You know?
Damn.
And Daniel could fucking box.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so it's interesting.
I want to talk about just kind of growing up. I mean, you mentioned it just now. Like you want to be known for Shane Mosley Jr., not Shane Mosley's son.
Yeah.
But what was it like growing up around all of that? Like your dad, obviously being legendary boxer, top of the game for so long.
Yeah.
You see all these guys. Like, what was kind of that experience like? As
It was
a kid?
incredible. You know what I mean? Like to be like, especially like because I love the sport. Like I'd see like all of my favorite fighters, like Roy Jones growing up, Mike Tyson, you know, like all these guys, they'd be around. I remember when I met, Muhammad Ali for the first time, like I was just always around, like, great fighters because,
like
being
the greatest of the greats.
Yeah, 100%. So being able to see guys in a different light was obviously
Like your uncles, so it's different. You know what I mean?
It was really cool. So, and then being a fighter now, you see like fighting at a different light. You see like those guys, kind of the way that they just kind of maneuver in that space. You just get a different light for yourself. You don't kind of get overwhelmed with the process.
As a dad, for me, I try to bring Knox around the gym, and it's not about me wanting him to be a fighter. It's more about surrounding him with people like Shane, Francis, whoever. So he sees what hard work looks like.
Yeah.
And I don't give a shit whatever he does in his life. He's just around people that are grinding, that are working hard. And that as a parent, I think that's so important.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What's up, guys? Thank you for watching the show. I appreciate all the comments, all the love, all the support. But if there's anything we can do better, if there's guests you want to see coming on, let us know. Put it in the comments. Tell us what we can do. Now, back to the show.
Was there like a moment where you kind of understood what your dad did for a living, like that you vividly remember, like, whether it was like in the ring or a training session or something? Because, like you hear like athletes, you have kids, obviously. My kids don't really know yet. They don't understand fully yet what we do. Do you remember that as a kid, like a moment where you were like, oh shit, like my dad, like, really does this?
Yeah, I mean, I would say probably the first time I ever seen him get knocked down.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, whoa.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this is not just like play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he's, and like,
Which fight was that?
Vernon Forrest, the first one.
7.
He got dropped in I think the second round, and I was watching it, and
How old were you?
I must have been like 10.
Were you at the
Yeah,
event?
I was at the event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you hear athletes like they don't even bring their kids because they don't really realize it
Sure.
yet, and then the moment they realize
Ryan
it, they'll bring
Couture
them.
is the same thing
Yeah.
when Chuck dropped his dad,
Yeah.
and he's like just sitting in the arena
Yeah.
fucking crying.
Yeah.
And then everybody's coming up to you like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm okay."
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that was I feel like when I realized that it was real.
Yeah.
And then, I never have gotten comfortable with watching my dad fight, or any of my friends fight. It's never comfortable. I don't know how you guys do it as a coach.
Yeah.
Like, because you're so helpless on the side.
Right.
Like, you want them to do well, you want them to win, but realistically speaking, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
Yeah.
True.
It's such a helpless feeling. It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. You hear, like, I don't think I've ever heard an athlete say that they're more nervous for their own fights than they're always more nervous for their friends or their spouse or their partner or whatever's fights than their own fights.
Because you can control it.
Right.
I have control over that. I don't have control over somebody else that I love.
Yeah.
Right. I just have to watch it happen. And that's why it's scary, because it's helpless.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I felt that way with Francis.
Sure.
Like, when we got closer, like, I felt that way a lot.
Yeah.
Except the Jairzinho fight. That was I told you this. Like, that was the one fight where I was so like,
he's gonna
murder I probably felt like a child would feel watching their dad when they don't understand it yet, like it's play. Because I just felt like no stress at all. I was like, he's good.
I remember like Francis looking back in the cage at us, like when remember there's
you told this story before.
There's no one there. We're in Jacksonville, and it's the first like fight or first sporting event during COVID.
Yeah.
And it's just, you can hear a pin drop.
Yeah.
And we get in there and Francis like looks, the cage door closes and Francis looks back and he's like, dude, this dude's terrified. He is so scared. And like, I'm looking at Jairzinho and you could just tell, bro, there was something about him that he's like, fuck this. I don't want to be in there with this guy.
Was there, or what was the moment when you were growing up that you realized boxing was for you too? Like, was there like a specific time where you were like, man, I want to do this?
So one of my buddies like just invited me to the gym to spar, like, which, you know, like if you have never boxed or did any like training in combat sports, sparring is probably not the first thing that you do. But because I've seen it, like I've seen it my whole life, I'm like, this is what they do. Like, I'll do it, whatever. You know, it's kind of just like, you know, nonchalant. And sure enough, like we sparred, and that day got a bloody nose, and the rest is history, man. I was just like, I'll be back.
How old were you?
15.
Yeah,
I got a bloody nose, and I'll never forget it. We did 4 rounds, and I was just like, man, I'll see you tomorrow.
Coming back.
I'm coming back.
Where was this at? Where were you guys living?
So I was in Laverne. And then the gym that we were at was in Azusa. It was Azusa Boxing Club.
Nice.
So,
where's this? California?
Yeah, California.
Oh, okay.
And like literally, like Azusa Boxing Club was like somebody's house. I want to say
Bones Adams.
Yeah. But like it was like maybe the whole gym was as big as this room. Like
Crazy.
it was super duper small. Like maybe like 700 square feet.
Crazy.
Like just a ring and like a bag in the corner.
Where are you sparring right now? Like when you go to spar?
So I usually spar over at Split T or you know, I'll travel wherever. But yeah,
you have your
right
go-to guys like you usually call on for partners and stuff?
No, it's usually kind of on
stylistics. Yeah.
That's how it kind of works out.
And for you, I think like the difference between MMA camps, right, and boxing camps.
Yeah,
we rely so much on the team, right? For you, it's very different. Like you need to have a Rolodex and a resource of people.
Yeah.
And then it's paying sparring partners to come in and train and right. So like, how do you deal with the management of that? Like, is it every camp? Do you deal with it, or is it manager or coach?
A little bit of both. I mean, like all, like, you know, like trainers, manager, me.
Sure.
Like I know some guys. Like I've hired Maki for your gym. You know what I mean? Like just like, you know, and for specifically for Danny Jacobs, because sometimes, you know, he'll clinch, and he was bigger than me, and so I just was like, all right, well, I see Maki. He looks big, and
Maki's great in that clinch. No,
exactly.
It's a good call.
So I was like, hey, you want to come and help us out? And he's like,
coconut bombs.
And so sure enough, it was definitely beneficial for me. And so you kind of just got to take it as is, as it comes. You can, like, you know, it's good to have like solid people. Like, you know, like I've been around coaches that have had other fighters, like, you know, coaches that train me and have other fighters that I could like essentially always train with. That's always a great thing to have, but you want to be able to mix it up a little bit too. Yeah.
speaking of that Danny Jacobs fight, are you what are you gonna stay at? What you gonna do 68 and 60? What are you gonna go back and forth? Like, how do you feel about what weight class you want to fight at?
In my personal opinion, I want to become undisputed middleweight champion. So that means I get all there's 4 belts.
60?
Yep, and get all of them at 160. And so, if the opportunity arises, then you go where the money is.
Yeah, you're not gonna say no.
You know what I mean? But and that's kind of what happened with the Danny Jacobs fight.
Yeah.
It was like, I'm campaigning at 160, and I even told everybody that was there, I'm gonna fight him, and after I win, I'm gonna go back down to 160, and nothing changes.
Who holds the belts at 60 besides Lara?
Erislandy Lara, Carlos Adames, and Janibek. I don't know how to say his last name.
Okay. I know who you're talking about, Janibek.
Ahmed, something like that.
And so in a perfect world, Lara and then the next 2? Or?
Lara, Carlos Adames, Janibek.
Yeah. All in 25 or?
That would be probably best
Perfect
case scenario.
world. Yeah.
But I would probably say that it would take, 1.5 to 2 years.
Yeah.
Maybe, who knows? Especially when it comes to the belts and all that
the
stuff.
Organizations and the
it gets really messy because if I have an organization and you have an organization and we have a champion, we're not going to want to give that champion up easily.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's why you don't see the UFC doing any fights with
Cross
PFL
promotions,
and Bellator and all of the other people. It's because, when they're finished over there, come over here.
Yeah.
Right? But, as they're in it, now we good.
Yeah.
We'll just stay right here.
What do you make? That's so interesting because that's how boxing has been for so long.
Yeah.
And now obviously Turkey and Saudi Arabia are like shaking things up. What do you kind of make of what they're doing over there and how they're trying to, quote unquote fix boxing?
Well, I think that they're just putting a Band-Aid over it, really, because they're just throwing money at it, and eventually when that money goes away, which it always does, it goes back to the way it was. Unless they create a system that, like the UFC or like one of these organizations, that has all of them, right? That has all of the fighters in it.
Right.
But because they don't have that,
It's going to stay the same.
it's going to stay the same, right? When the average person thinks of MMA, they think of the UFC. I've heard many, many people for a long time.
Right.
Oh, you
train UFC?
You train UFC?
UFC, yep.
Right? And that's great for the UFC.
Sure.
Right? And so, if they had something like that, which you could do something like that in boxing, where it's like, hey, we have an organization with all the top guys that box, and they're all together in one spot, and then nobody's afraid of their spot now because we're all in the same organization.
Right.
So I'm not really afraid of my spot. That's why you could be, what's Michael Johnson's record?
35 and 10
right?
or something.
And nobody's caring about the O.
Yeah.
But if the reason why Floyd Mayweather harped about the O is because if you lose, my money goes down, right? In boxing, if you're with the promoter, if I lose, my money goes down. So when I win, what does that mean? It goes up and it keeps up. And so if I never lose, guess where I got to be at?
Yeah.
Right. And you just keep on pushing that. And that's why I feel like he pushed that narrative all the time.
100%.
I know he doesn't really care about that. He, from a personal standpoint, he cares, but he knows that what's real in boxing, in my opinion.
He's so much smarter than people gave him credit for in terms of the marketing of his career.
Yeah.
Correct. He changed that whole. He's the reason why the O is the O. In my opinion, because all them guys fought each other in the 70s and 80s and 90s. They all fought each other, and it didn't matter too much. He's the reason why. I mean,
and truth be told, he did fight everybody.
Yeah.
Maybe not when everybody wanted him to, but he did fight everybody. So I would say that he definitely put in the work to get that greatness.
Yeah.
But he didn't. But I think he harped about that because he understood what that meant as far as value is concerned.
Yep.
Right, to everybody else. And if I have and say all of this and make everybody watch, see, look, I have the O, see, I have the O, then you're gonna get eyeballs there, and you're gonna get everybody wanting to take that away.
And that's when he switched from pretty boy to money because he was like, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna fight a lot smarter and get more defensive.
It's genius.
Yep, it is. He's so much smarter than people give him credit for in that regard. Yeah, so 60, 68, you want to get all the belts. Speaking of real quick, what did you make of that fight between Bivol and who did he fight? The other undefeated guy.
Yeah.
Dang, what the hell's his name?
Beterbiev. Yep.
Did you watch that fight?
I did.
What'd you think? Did you think the right guy won?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think that he pressed the pace. He was definitely, making him work, right? At no point in time did you ever see that change.
Yeah.
Right? You'd never seen a break in the momentum, in my opinion. And I feel like Bivol definitely was more defensive than he normally is. So you see one guy is the way that he normally is. The other guy wasn't really like he normally is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I believe that was because the heat coming back, right?
Yeah.
So obviously I got to be more defensive and not going to let my hands go as much.
Yeah.
And with that being said, even if it was a close fight, in my opinion, you give it to the guy that is consistently who he is.
Being the aggressor.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought I was wrong about that fight. I thought Bivol was just going to jab his face off for 12 rounds. I really did. I was like, he's going to move, stick, but yeah,
I know a lot of people that have sparred with Beterbiev, and they say it is unreal. It's different.
Yeah.
And you could see a guy that, like you said, normally jabs and stuff like that is doing something different, and it's because that he has that act right. Like, you
gotta act right.
You got that act right.
That's a great term.
So I believe that, like, and you know the guys that got the act right. You know the guys that got that, like, all I know is if I hit you with one of these, it's over.
Yeah.
And they fight like that. They fight like, yeah, you might be beating me the whole fight. 1 second left, all I need is this. And he got that.
Yeah. So back to when you were deciding to box, 15, come home, bloody nose, whatever. What did your dad think? Like, what kind of conversations did you guys have? Was he one of them that was like, I don't want you to do this, or was he kind of on board?
My dad is, a burn the boats type of guy. You know what I mean? And he definitely is. If you're gonna do this, you're gonna do this to the best of your ability. Yeah. And you're gonna be great. It's like if you go in here, you're gonna be champion. Like, right? Like,
Right.
You walk through this door, we're going to be champion.
I love that mentality.
Yeah,
Right?
Me too.
I mean, that's the only mentality that works.
Right.
All right, I'll say this. I'm a believer, right? We believe that the only way to the Father is through the Son. Right? There's only one way. I know that you may not like that. You may think that that's wrong or whatever the case is. So what?
Right.
That's the only way.
Yeah.
And that's what I believe. And so why wouldn't I take that into everything I do?
Yeah, if you're gonna choose to do something, let's choose greatness. Like, let's don't be mediocre at it.
Right.
Let's do the bet. Let's do it and let's do it right.
Yeah.
Especially in this type of sport, bro. Yeah. Like, you don't want to do this shit half-assed because it's gonna fucking hurt, right?
yeah.
Like, it's not gonna be the path that you want to be on.
And especially in boxing rather than MMA.
Right.
Because fortunately, those pillows that we hit each other with, you can hit each other more times with them pillows rather than those 4-ounce gloves. So with that being said, you're taking more and more damage.
Yeah.
And that's why you see a lot of boxers with that speech impediment.
Yes,
right?
sir.
And you don't really see MMA guys as much with it.
Sure.
You see a few, but not as much. You guys have more cuts and stuff
Right.
like that, disfigurement. We have more of the brain damage.
Sure. I
because
mean,
of that.
you have knockdowns.
Yep.
In MMA, it's like you get knocked down, the
Jump
fight
on top.
could be
Yeah.
over.
It's pretty
in
much
that
over.
moment. There's no 8 count. There's you know what I mean? Like, and when it's dudes floored,
Yeah.
it's over. So
Yeah.
I see that. I see what you're saying about this, the cumulative damage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of cuts, real quick, to change sports, I didn't think Colby's cut last night was that bad to get stopped. What'd you
I
think?
didn't think so either. I mean, placement, yeah.
Yeah,
but,
because it was below the bone,
Yeah.
right? Which is the bad spot, I feel
yeah.
like.
But it was right almost at the end of the round, wasn't it? When the stoppage
It was
happened?
like 2 seconds from
Yeah.
the round.
Yeah, like let's see what the corner can do with it.
Yeah.
See what the cut man can do with it.
She had said something to him in the 3rd round
Uh-huh.
and basically said, like, I'll give you one more round.
Right.
And so that round was essentially
That
up.
was the one more.
That was the one
Ah.
more. And I think she was concerned that he could lose his eyelid and then lose the eye.
Wow.
Really?
That's what she said.
That's what she was saying?
I'm not sure
Wow.
how
Yeah.
true that is. Maybe she's just trying to save herself. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But
Yeah.
that's what she said.
Wow.
I guess you'd rather
I
be-
think Dana was right. If that was here, I think they let it go.
Yeah.
I do for whatever reason.
Oh, is that what he said? If it was Vegas,
I think it was in Vegas. He said if it was in Vegas, I think they'll let that fight continue.
Yeah.
But get him on the stool. Give the cut man an opportunity to see. I mean, Rob Moreau, Mike Afanasieff, Tate. Those guys are very talented cut man. Give them an opportunity to see what they can do with it. But hey, I was happy the right guy won.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I saw your tweet. Maybe a little controversial to some on Twitter about Joaquin Buckley Fighter of the Year. I agree. I tend to agree with you.
It's sexy. And I get it.
It's not the sexiest like Taporia or Pereira
or
whatever.
Sure. But let's give the guy that isn't on the tip of everybody's tongue. He is today because of what happened yesterday. But you got to give his body of work some sort of credit.
Yeah.
Sometimes I tweet things moreover or say things because Buckley is a friend. He's trained with us quite a bit. And I just want to give him his flowers, bro, because I've seen this dude come to our gym and train, right? Fought Albert, a teammate. Fought Chris Curtis, a teammate. Got knocked out by Chris Curtis. Calls me and asks, hey, can I come back and train at Extreme? And I'm like, dude, this guy just wants to be great.
Yeah.
They talk about his ego. They talk about this, I know the guy personally. And all he wants to do is be great. And how can you hate on that? So what he's done at 170, he's now 6-0.
Find a way.
He's 4-0 or 4 finishes, 4 wins in 2024. And just, hey, that's all it was.
Yeah.
And, say what you want. He probably won't win it.
Yeah.
But at least I want people to understand, we see what you're doing, bro.
Yeah.
And congratulations on your hard work and effort that you put out there.
What do you think that is? This is a question for both of you guys, because you've also had this resurgence now, I feel like, in your career, 4 in a row, 6 in a row, whatever. I forget whatever it is. But, what is it about athletes? Is it just a change of scenery? Is it a new coach? Is it because for Buckley, it was a change of scenery, right? 85 to 70.
Sure.
I'm not sure what it is for you. You could speak more to that, obviously, but I wonder what that is. How do you guys go through and get these reinvigorated?
I see sometimes it's just confidence, and it could be a snowball effect, right? It's like a baseball guy who gets up to and he's in a slump and he just can't figure out, and then every time you're at the plate, you're like, fuck, I can't get a hit, and then all of a sudden, just the tide changes for you. And now that momentum begins to start happening and good things start to happen, and more, maybe it's about the life and the people you're surrounding yourself with, all those things, bro. And you can see that with certain athletes. Like Charles Oliveira comes to mind, right?
Just
example. Just fucking the cards fall in a good place for some of these guys. And then it continues and they stay on this trend. And is he going to be a world champion? Sure looks like he has that opportunity, right? And
about Buckley?
I'm talking about Buckley. You know what I mean? He's really put himself in a good position.
Yeah.
So, it could be a number of those things. And none of them actually make sense. The only thing that makes sense to me is when you see a guy who has a little bit more confidence in his skill set now. He walks in there with a little bit more swagger, and he feels like he can continue to keep doing what he's doing and getting finishes.
Yeah. Well, what about for you? What do you think it's been in your career where you
fell forward?
Yeah.
You just fell forward. And I say that you take that loss and you don't let it defeat you. This game and anything else is always about not giving up and figuring out what you did wrong the last time, right? Or in that whatever thing that you're doing, right? And if you have that not quit, that this is the only way, you're gonna get through it.
Sure.
Because you continue to fail, and go I'm just gonna fail forward. And I think that's what it is for me. You just don't quit, and you just keep on believing that you can do it. And a lot of people, unfortunately, don't have that as much. And maybe that is attributed to the fact that, for one, I love what I do, and two, that I've seen somebody do it. I think that's an important part too. When you surround yourself around people that have been there before, you go, well, I got a little bit of that. I got a little bit of that. Well, if they did that and they got there, well, why can't I do that? Right? And
4-minute mile.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Man, I train with that guy every day. He did the 4-minute mile. Oh, watch this.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where it's at. And I think all of those things, like you said, there's so many different things that you could attribute it to. But I think that the base is not giving up and committed to failing forward.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah. It is crazy how confidence, it seems like in any sport, confidence is almost 50% of or more
Sure.
of what you need to actually succeed in the sport. It's like talent is some of it, athleticism is some of it, but like just the confidence seems like, obviously goes a long way. Who do you talk to? Like you said, you lean on certain people or you take inspiration. Like who do you talk to, I guess, to get you in that mindset of failing forward or falling forward? And,
I got a lot of people.
Yeah.
But one guy that's been with me forever, he's I call him my mental coach. His name is Brandon Epstein. Shout out to you. He's believed in me before, like when I was living on my homeboy's couch. You know what I mean? And he literally was like, man, you gonna get off this couch and you're gonna be a world champion. I'm like, okay.
You saw something in you before you saw it in yourself.
Yeah, 100%.
We need those people, man.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, you need those people.
And yeah, man, and even my friend whose couch I was on, Julian Shua, man, like shout out to him too. He's a coach. He trains Zoto Ramirez actually, and I was living on his couch for a while and just had a dream, man, and got on the Contender Series, I was a finalist on there, and then came out here, and it's like I'm gonna make it happen. So that's just kind of believing in yourself. But yeah, there's been many people that I've had in my life that has helped me get to this. My dad being one of them, brother Nazim Richardson. I mean, I can go down a long list of people. Larry Wade, my coach now. There's so many people that I've been able to be around to help inspire me to grow.
Yeah.
So I'm blessed in that way. And then, putting yourself around like guys like you know what I mean? Like just being able to soak up as much as you possibly can, and then also being able to give what you can as well.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's another thing that in order to receive, you have to give.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I feel like. And so if we can kind of have this exchange and be able to learn from each other, that's where it's at.
100%.
Yeah. Speaking of, you said you guys have worked together, you've held pads, whatever the case may be. Like, what do you guys take from each other? Because I'm sure there's like a number of things you can learn.
This dude's
striking
left hook is a fucking hammer. Dude, the first time I was like, man, when I played catcher as a kid, I was just thinking about putting I wanted a sponge inside my mitt, because this dude was hitting my hand through my hand, my elbow. Oh my God, damn, this guy can crack.
Yeah.
But so he'll come watch me hold, and maybe it was for like Kai, some of the guys that with a lot of movement, and we just start picking each other's brains about theories of angles and movement and stuff like that. Especially when Francis was fighting Tyson Fury, I talked to him a lot about, hey, what do you think about this approach? So I was picking his brain quite a bit about these, concepts.
Yeah.
Because it was all new for us.
Yeah.
But I'd asked him, I was like, I don't think Francis is going to go outbox Tyson Fury, but here's how I think this approach can be: is stay with an MMA skill set that might throw Tyson for a loop.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I like that. And then I started picking his brain about like, hey, if we start southpaw, we're doing this, dude, what do you think? What do you think?
Yeah.
So that kind of like, for me, got our brains kind of going, and then, hit me up, hey, hold some pads for me sometime. Let's do this, let's do that. I want to see what you're working on. Yeah. So that, right away, when he first came to Extreme, he was there to do S&C. But I knew right away, oh, he's going to be an asset for us because of his thirst for knowledge, but also, like he said, he wants to give back to the people that he's around.
Yeah.
But he was so great about it too. It was like, hey, are you cool if I do this? I'm like, bro, please help. Please help on the mat. Please show something. Come to pro practice. So just that initial exchange, I think you can read each other's energies, and having them in the room, bro, has just been a huge asset for everybody.
Yeah. And what about with you? Like when you train with Eric, is there anything specifically you're trying to pick from?
I actually love the movement, foot placement, and switching that he does a lot. And he has really, really cool concepts in that I really enjoy. And I feel like if you can implement some of those things, I think it's beneficial. One thing that I do feel like a lot of boxers don't do is switching, which I feel like could be a great asset for a lot of boxers. Because we are traditional to one side, right? Usually you're orthodox or you're southpaw. And guys that do it, like, Terrance Crawford, are great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They use it to their advantage because you don't know what to plan for. And when Terrance fought Earl Spence, Earl hadn't fought southpaw, and I think it was like 7 years before.
Yeah.
Right. So you then go, well, I could do both, and he's gonna have to worry about that. Guess what? I'm gonna start at southpaw, and then if you get accustomed to that, I'll just switch back.
Yeah.
But with that being said, you've switched your game plan to where I always knew you only had one game plan. Yeah. So that's where I feel like it could be beneficial for boxers, is being able to have that that ability to, change and not know what you're coming with.
Yeah. Do you think he and Canelo will fight? Crawford and Canelo? Would you even want to see that fight, I guess, is the better question. Do you think that's a competitive fight?
Yes, I do. I do think it's a competitive fight. Want is such an interesting thing because I do feel like if Bud beats Canelo, it devalues Canelo.
Yeah.
In a big way. Whereas there's not really much that he's going to gain from beating Terrance
It's
Crawford.
lose for Canelo.
Yeah, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But do I want to see it as a fan?
Hell
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
Who are some of the guys that you enjoy studying present right now?
Okay. I mean, there's a lot. George Foreman's one of them. I love George. I like that the aspect of control. Hagler is one of them. Terrance Crawford, Floyd Mayweather, my dad. Let me see who else is really good. Shakur Stevenson, I like him. Shakur is great. Boots Ennis is good.
That guy can switch some stance.
Yeah.
Yes.
That dude can move.
That's the dude I want to see fight Crawford. Maybe he needs like one or two more fights ish. But that's a fight that I think would be fun.
Bro, you know who I love watching? In a way.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He's a bad
Bro,
dude.
I love watching that guy
guy's
fight. And
He's
then
a
that's
bad
another dude.
dude.
I'll jump on YouTube and just watch his training or his pad sessions to try to pick up, because like the way that he'll roll with certain stuff and then but come back with things, like his counters are built into his defense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So his movement is already like he's shoulders moving, catching, rolling, bam, hits you, gone. Footwork, angles. And I'm like, man, this guy is so much freaking fun to watch.
Yeah.
So much fun to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, in a way is awesome.
Another guy is Tyson Fury. I like Tyson Fury, watching him. When you guys were fighting him, what were you watching of him? Were you guys kind of like, man, like?
I wanted to see like the lean.
Okay.
So how is he pulling off the punches?
Yeah.
How is he leaning? Kind of was he playing a little bit more Philly shell? Was his chin up when he would lean back? Was he coming right back with the two? Was his back or lead foot sliding? Was he half beat sliding?
Yeah.
Or was he leaning back? So my thought process was a reload or like a double up off the right side or left side. Because we can't reach him with the first one, but maybe we can cover and come back with the second one. Or that step through with that stance switch, because when he leaned back, it was going to be that check hook.
Yeah.
So if we went right cross and we missed with the right cross, that check hook was going to come.
Yep.
But that stance switch in motion to roll underneath it and hit him with our left overhand.
Okay.
So that's really what more I was looking for. The other thing we were looking about a lot was the pairing.
The pairing.
The pairing, right? Catch a jab, throw a jab. How can we come over top of it?
Yep.
But Francis does a really good job with the slip inside over if you mirror
Okay.
jab for jab, right? So that was one thing we were playing with a lot, So, and a lot of that shit, man, we were just fucking, come on.
Yeah.
Help me.
Yeah.
I had the best seat in the house, man. That was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
What was it like when you knocked him down?
I looked right. I didn't say it. I just like this the whole time. Then I just fucking looked over like Brett Okamoto was sitting next to me, and Brett freaking out because he was doing like the corner thing, and I was like looked at him, just kind of winked, and then I looked over at all the promoters, and they're fucking freaking out. They're freaking out.
Ghost white. They were ghost white.
Ghost white, bro. Because they're like, oh shit, this is not what we expect.
Yeah.
And then I look over, and then Francis is fucking dancing on top of this dude. So I'm like, hey. Get out of the way so they can count, like get the count going, bro.
Right.
Yeah, no, this shit was like you can feel the pandemonium in people's hearts at the moment. And I looked over and then the bell rang and then we got on the stool and I looked at Francis and I'm like, oh, he ain't no fucking boogeyman, is he? And he's like, I'm gonna take this dude to school now, remember?
Yeah.
I was
I was gonna say,
yeah.
do you remember? Did you ever see what he said in that moment to Tyson? when he knocked him down. So and you guys were in the ring when they do the glove touch.
Yeah.
Fury's like, I'm gonna take you to school, motherfucker.
Oh yeah.
And so Francis was like, okay. So when he knocked him down and he did that shimmy,
Yeah.
he said he looked at him and was like, "You're a bad professor, motherfucker," and then stood back up.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
oh, this is
But
incredible.
like we were saying earlier, though,
yeah.
the confidence in Francis was like,
Dude.
I can hang right now. And you felt that fucking swagger just oozing out of Francis.
Yeah.
You know
when
what
he
I
was
mean?
bouncing on his toes before the 10th round, I was like, oh shit, like we
might beat
just
this
did,
guy.
we just did this. Like he's about to go to decision with the greatest heavyweight
And
boxer.
Fury and look, bro, like this dude I loved being around this guy and his dad.
Yeah.
I thought they were awesome.
Yeah.
So, this is the first time that really I had to go and watch him get his hands wrapped.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. You got to go in there and watch him get his hands. I'm like, what am I looking for?
You and Trip.
Yeah. Me and
Two football players.
Yeah, 2 football players in there. And fucking, you walked in the room, bro, and the energy was amazing in there, in Tyson's room. Music's blaring, fucking his dad's bouncing off the walls and shit.
Yeah.
And here comes Tyson walking out of the bathroom. And the first thing I noticed, bro, his fucking legs are like this.
Like
he built
twigs.
like a Miami Hurricane mascot, right? And I'm like, God damn, bro. And then it says, so he gets out of the bathroom. He's like, and he right away just starts fucking giving a shit, which is great. I loved it. And he's like, I'm going to beat your boy's ass and I'm going to go over to MMA and I'm going to beat his ass there too. And I look down at his legs. I'm like, not with them fucking skinny ass legs you are. I go, you're built like Gru. And he like stopped. He's like, Gru. And he was like, oh man. So right away, like we were just fucking giving each other shit. And then he was cool, bro. Like he was super cool. And Sugar Hill, nice, cool shit. It was weird because he kept like, here's the gauze. I'm like, bro, just wrap him. I got you, bro.
Well, that's normal in boxing.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean,
100%.
My dad's coach caught somebody doing.
I believe it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I believe it.
The Plaster Paris. My dad. So my dad was gonna fight Margarito, and he was planning to put that on there, the Plaster Paris.
Right.
So like that's why our sport.
You got to, right?
Well, because was that before or after he fought Cotto with this
So it was after that.
It was after.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, my dad was gonna beat him no matter if he had it in him. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Fucking you up.
Yeah.
Remember Dewey though was like big on me making sure that his thumb was in the glove.
Yeah.
So I had to go up to. I'm like, fuck, grabbing Tyson Fury. And he's like, where am I gonna put my fucking thumb?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know, bro. They just told me to grab your thumb.
Yeah.
I'm just doing what I'm told, bro.
Eric comes back in the locker room and I was like, because again, this is all of our first times in any of except Dewey. Dewey's been around, forever. But I was like, so how'd it go? Like, what is his hand? Eric's like, I don't know. He just wrapped his hands. I think he's good. I said, okay.
And MMA wraps and boxing wraps are way different.
Oh, bro.
Yeah.
I mean,
way
like
different.
boxing wraps are like
thickness.
huge,
Yeah.
man. Like comparison, they're like out to here, bro.
Yeah.
And then you guys have like these little like it's barely
100%.
like,
Yeah.
But then the one dude that came to watch Francis, he was like a fucking bad Yelp Karen.
Yeah.
He's like the bad Yelp review guy. He's like, I don't know. Like maybe I'm like, dude, come on, man. I didn't do this to your guy.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I didn't know any better.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm over there roasting your dude because he got skinny ass legs. That's what I thought we were supposed to do. I thought we were supposed to make fun of him in the moment. You know?
Do you remember the Sparta chant?
Yeah.
When we were leaving the locker room.
Giggling like this.
We were laughing so much. I don't
trying
know
to-
if Francis told this story.
Nah.
Or anyone's told this story. So we're literally like, they're like, all right, Francis, time to go, whatever. So, you leave your locker room. Soon as we walk out, Fury, Sugar Hill, Big John, Fury team, and they literally just do the Sparta chant. This is Sparta. Oh.
We are Sparta!
And Francis kind of just like looks and then looks back at us and
giggling.
then just starts walking away. And all of us were just like, did that really just happen? Like, what, was this like a scare tactic? He's like, and Francis looks back. He's like, it's not going to work. It just like kept, kept walking up.
It was
thing.
like a high school football fucking.
Yeah.
Like, bro, we're fucking 40.
Literally. It was like, this dude's like 40 years old. They just did the who chant. It was the weirdest thing. I was like, in my head, I'm like, was that supposed to be like an intimidation tactic or what? It just fell flat. It was so lame.
What do you think of that fight?
in my personal opinion, I thought Francis won.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice. Hell yeah.
That's
I mean,
awesome.
I'm not just saying that.
No,
Yeah. That's what I thought.
At worst, it was a draw. At worst, it was a draw.
I think they should do it again.
You know, the only dude that really gave us a shot was Timothy Bradley.
Yep.
Only dude that gave us a shot.
Yep.
We're in that.
I remember that.
We're in that room, and he was like, you know, I got some feeling about you.
Yeah.
That
He said he dreamt it, right? He told his wife.
He said, guys, I got to tell you this story.
Yeah.
We're in there, like, it was all said and done. I think it was even, like, off the record, right? We're about to walk out, and he goes, Francis, I got to tell you this story, man. I've dreamt this over and over or whatever. I had 1 or 2 dreams about this, and I had to tell my wife. I just have to tell you for whatever reason. I dreamt that you dropped Tyson Fury.
Wow.
And I think he said a left hook.
Yeah, he said something to that effect.
I feel like I've dreamed about you dropping Tyson Fury with this punch, and I've dreamt that you're going to win this fight or something along those lines. Right? And we're all like, hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't know what it is about you, man, but you're destined for greatness. You know, and we walked out of there going like, hell yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Like it was nice.
Yeah. I think the thing too with Francis in the corner, you guys, is like we were all playing with house money.
Yeah.
100%.
So it was like the pressure. I do remember Francis like 3 weeks before the fight, actually right before we left Vegas, where he was like, I wish I had more time. And that was the first time I'd ever heard Francis say anything like that.
Yeah.
And he felt like, you could tell it was like weighing on him. Like, I'm about to go box arguably the best heavyweight of this generation.
Yeah.
Like, it's real.
Yeah.
But then when we were in that locker room and Tim Bradley said that, Dewey gave that speech that I still get chills
amazing.
about, bro.
Amazing.
And we don't have it on video, and I almost think that makes it better because nobody was
you
filming.
Can't tell,
no, because everyone was so captivated in that moment that like I get chills talking about
and,
it.
I've
like,
coached a lot of fights with Dewey. That's hands down my favorite Dewey moment.
by far.
And also, not to cut you off, but like Izzy's energy in that room, Adesanya.
The second he saw Francis go to Southpaw in the back warming up, Izzy lost his fucking. He goes, Southpaw.
This is
he
it.
goes.
This
he
is
starts
it.
throwing pillows.
Yeah,
He's like,
he was losing his mind. And then the last, like right before we were about to wrap, Dewey's like, all right, let's hit him with it. And give him the Superman punch.
Yeah.
Boom. And Izzy fucking lost it.
Yeah.
He's like, that's it.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah.
He's like, I knocked out so-and-so and whatever with the Superman. He's like, oh my God. And dude, like having Izzy there, and this is after Izzy lost to Strickland. Izzy made it a point to be there.
Yep.
Made it a point to be a brother. Made it a, like,
Kamaru
travel.
too.
Huh?
Kamaru Usman too.
And Usman, right? Like
after he had just fought Hamzat.
Like, both of these guys made it a point to be supported, to be there. The energy was what was like, bro, through the roof. Like we felt nothing could touch us, man.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like
that night,
Francis was nervous, and it was the first time I'd ever seen him like really, even for the Gone fight with no fucking knee, he wasn't as nervous as he was for the Fury fight. But the speech, the Tim Bradley thing, Izzy and Kamaru being there, like that moment in the locker room is something I'll never forget because it was just like all of us were just like, we're good. Like
we're good.
No matter what, like they expect him to go out there and get battered. You know what I mean? We know that's not going to happen, but like, who cares? Like we're literally shooting dice, playing with house money. Like it was the best.
He was leaning
energy.
against the turnbuckle when Fury was walking out, and he had his arms like up on the like on the ropes, and I'm standing next to my brother, and I'm watching Tyson Fury walk out, and I look over and I'm like, bro, you're about to fight Tyson Fury.
Didn't make any sense.
And he kind of giggles and looks over at me, and he's like, remember we were talking about this like 3 years ago, me and you? Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, dude, I do. Like we had this like moment of like conversation of, bro, you dreamt about this, and it's right in front of us now.
Yeah. Yep.
And it was like this. Those moments we talk about, I'll never forget.
Never.
I'm gonna tell my grandkids about, and how calm and cool he was in that moment. Just fucking lean. He's like, it's Tyson Fury, dude.
Yeah.
About to fight Tyson Fury. I'm like, fucking, you about to fight Tyson Fury, bro.
Dude. You know what I have to say is like, see how you guys have this story about this same moment? I guarantee you Tyson didn't have that same moment. And that's why he didn't perform, in my opinion. Not to say that like, I mean, he, like, in my opinion, he lost the fight, right? And because fighting is all about perception.
Right.
And the perception is that that he was going to watch this guy. He
Yeah.
didn't, and that guy actually put it on him.
Sure.
And so, in my opinion, with that, you lose, right?
Sure.
But in the lead up, that's why I feel like you have to be as a fighter, and this is why some guys, like if friends fight, like, bro, we're not friends right now.
Right.
Right.
You can't have the sparring session.
Yeah, or whatever the case is, because you have to switch that off in your mind. And if somebody's fighting you on the other side, no matter what you guys had before or whoever he is, even if it's your son that I'm fighting, I got to believe that your son could kill me.
Right.
Right? Straight
At
up.
any moment, yeah.
Right? And I got to go and eliminate that threat. And not take it lightly. Oh, it's just his son. He ain't gonna do that. And that's kind of the way he looked at it. Oh,
So you think deep down though, he just didn't take him seriously, I bet, right?
100%. Well, even if he did take him serious, he didn't take him serious to the level in which you're talking about.
To the capacity of what he should have.
Exactly.
Right.
Right?
Well, like
he trained, but maybe didn't train 10 hours.
But you hear what I'm saying? Like, you guys got speeches that you talk about.
Right.
You got like moments where you guys remember this.
Yeah.
Right? You got moments that you said, like, you'll never forget that you'll tell your grandkids.
Sure.
You think that moment was like that for him?
No.
Hey, I'm just gonna beat this guy up.
Yeah.
He might be all right, but I'm just gonna watch him. And those things matter.
Right.
Yeah.
Those things
You
matter.
know what's interesting? I said to Francis, Tyson Fury won the boxing match, but we won the fight. Mm-hmm. That's how I felt. Mm-hmm. Because the damage, the drop, the everything that happened. Okay, you won on a fucking scorecard for whatever reason that you think, but we won the fucking fight.
Yeah.
Because like people say, if you put those two motherfuckers in a room, Francis is walking out.
Yeah. Yeah. There's only one guy walking out.
Only one
and
guy,
it's
and that's fucking Francis.
Yeah.
And that's a fight.
Yeah.
Right? And we won the fight.
Yeah.
That's the way I looked at it.
Yep.
Yeah. It was an amazing one. But real quick, last thing on this to touch on the knockdown. I was sitting behind all of Queensberry promoters, like on the floor level thing, whatever. And I'm sitting next to Tim, from Izzy's manager, Tim Simpson, and Izzy's brother, David. So it's like the four of us or whatever, three of us. And I'm fucking white knuckled on the back of these Queensberry dudes' chairs when he knocks Fury down. And I'm like, holy fuck it. I'm screaming, bro, white knuckled. And I have to like stop myself because I'm like, I don't want to be rude. Like I'm just in the moment. And I'm like, I'm sorry. And the guy turns around and he has like Queensberry badge, all this stuff. And he's like, well, we didn't see that coming. And just turns right back, back around. And I was like, yeah, I bet you didn't. And like, I'm trying not to like.
The look on Tyson's face will always be ingrained in my mind. Because I'm looking
that photo
right
that
at
you
him
have.
and he's like, oh shit, did I not fucking see this coming? Mm-hmm. I'm in for a fight, bro.
Yeah.
I'm in for a fight. That was a lot of fun, man.
Dude, it was.
Even the walkout.
Yeah.
Right? The walkout, all of it. Like they did a really good job. Mm-hmm. They did a really good job on that, you know? And again, it was like the complete polar opposite when it came to the Joshua fight for us.
Yeah.
It just everything felt different.
Yeah.
But that Tyson Fury fight, like you said, man, is like, I wish you were there. I wish people could understand what it was like in that moment. And that's the best part about it is you weren't, you know?
Yeah.
One thing that I think was different about that fight, just from my perspective, right, is that you guys let the cat out of the bag.
Right.
And now,
In terms of what? What do you mean?
Just that he could fight.
Oh,
fight.
you
guys let the cat out of the bag.
Yeah.
Whereas before, like, oh, nobody believes anything about this guy, right? Now you think, oh, wait, that guy is a problem.
Yeah.
Right? And now Joshua has that in his mind.
Yep.
He knocked him down. If I don't act right and I don't take him seriously, that might happen to me too.
And to your point, the contrast of energies from when Tyson Fury got his hands wrapped to Joshua's getting his hands wrapped, this motherfucker was just
a soldier.
Locked in, bro. Locked in. I remember him coming in the back after, like, what was he like? I'm like, bro, this dude looked like a serial killer. For real. This dude was dialed the fuck in.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
You
no
didn't
joke.
even see him, like, he wasn't even breathing. I don't even know if he blinked.
No.
I'm like, oh, bro, like, this, we gotta get going.
Yeah.
like this shit was like, oh, bro, like he's on it. Right
That
now.
fight makes me so mad, dude.
Yeah.
Because I tell people, it doesn't matter anymore because the fight went the way it went.
Right.
But if that fight happens 10 times, I'm not saying Francis doesn't lose. I'm not saying he doesn't even get knocked out, but it doesn't go like that.
Right.
Yeah.
10 out of 10,
Like that.
9
Yeah.
out of 10 times,
100%.
it doesn't go like that.
100%. Yeah.
And there was just a number of factors and things going on. The way we, when we got to the arena, how long this motherfucker was sleeping next to Eric, like wrapped his hands, fell back asleep. Like it was
so much going on.
They had us there 4.5 hours early. Like it,
Yeah. There was, and behind the scenes stuff.
that's what I'm saying. There was a bunch of
even
other,
like Colby was sick. Remember,
Yeah.
like there was a lot of things that were
Yeah.
going on, bro.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
underlying things, but like you
Yeah.
said, it is what it
It
is.
is what
and
it-
we
like I
move
said,
on.
no excuse that he won, but-
it's part of the experience,
It is.
right? Like, okay,
Yeah.
for the next time, how do we deal with it, or how do we,
Yep.
and again, like this last one with Henan Fajeda,
Yeah.
again, completely different.
Yep.
It was MMA,
Yep.
and got our boy right, and now he's back in a position where he gets to call his shots on
Yep.
shit.
Yep. You've been boxing now 26 fights, 27 fights. Like,
Yep.
what was your welcome to boxing moment? Have you had one?
What do
like,
you mean?
Like, when you talk to like NBA players, they have like a welcome to the NBA moment. Like, I'm guarding Kevin Durant, or LeBron just dunked on me, or I'm just in this space and it's like it hits me like it's real. I'm a professional and I'm at this level. Did you have you had one of those moments? Was Danny Jacobs that moment? Like,
I would say probably Gabe Rosado was that moment.
Gabe Rosado.
Yeah, and that was cool because like he's like my hero, man. Like it was kind of interesting because like he's like the modern day Rocky. He's like the modern day Arturo Gatti. You know what I mean? Like he's that guy who like will fight anybody and just like blood, guts, and everything out there and just try to win and become champion. And so like to be in there with him and be able to have that experience was really, really cool because I essentially want to be like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like even when the time we're fighting, he was like, yeah, I'm going to beat him and then I'm going to go fight for a world title. It's kind of like, yeah, I'm about to, and I do feel like he overlooked me a little bit, but, to my benefit. But
Right.
just the fact of like him wanting to strive, and even when we fought, he had like 12 losses and still was like, yeah, I'm going to be world champion again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, I love that,
Yeah.
and I love that aspect. So that's how it's going to be for me. I have 4 losses, but I'm still going to be world champion.
Yeah. I feel like it's starting to change a little bit. That prestigious O. I feel like it is starting to change just a little bit. Like Canelo lost to Bivol, but he's still Canelo. And I know it's like an outlier, but like I just feel like it's changing, a little bit. Like Bivol lost, he's coming back. Fury Usek too is gonna do crazy numbers. Like, it's not as prestigious. I mean, it's great to be undefeated, don't get me wrong. And like you said, the money goes up when you keep that O, but I think it's starting to change just a little bit. What do you think? Like,
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm going to be part of that, the people that change it.
Yeah.
But I do feel like the art of fighting makes it easy for people to feel that way, right? Because you essentially are beating up another guy to defeat him, right? And even that mindset, like I defeated him, right? It makes him look less than you, right? So in a competition standpoint, that's what it kind of looks like. And so that perception, I feel like, makes people feel like I don't want to be defeated, right? But as long as you can take, like I said, take what you need to from those losses and transfer it and continue to love it still, then you can grow.
Yeah.
And luckily for me, I got into boxing late, like as far as time is concerned, even though because most, like my dad, for instance, right, he was boxing since he was 8 years old, right? A lot of guys that are top guys right now have been boxing since they were like very, very young. So
tried on the tires.
Yeah. So by the time they get to this age, they're burnt out.
Yeah.
They hate it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I got a bunch of friends that are like, man, I don't even like it no more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I love boxing. I'm like, wait.
Well, yeah. What was who was the flyweight? Is he a flyweight? The boxer.
You're talking about
Edwards.
Edwards.
What's his name?
Sonny
Edwards.
Yeah.
Right. I feel like
wanna
that's
be here.
yeah. I don't want to be here. And he's like, his only loss to that point, I feel like, was Bam. Right, which is like he's Bam's awesome. And I think that's to your point.
I think he lost one other fight.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he lost one other fight before this last one that he lost, I believe. But yeah, like if you feel like that, then you 100% right.
Yeah.
No matter which way it is, if you want to keep on fighting, you're right. If you want to stop fighting, you're right.
Yeah.
So if you feel that way, please, this is not the sport to
Right.
100%. 100%. Fuck around and find out.
Yeah. I don't want to be here. It's crazy to say that.
Ben Folds called me this week and asked me about that question. He said, if that happened to you on the stool in MMA, like, you know, what would your approach be? And again, it's like, you know, I always answer sometimes a question with like, how long is a piece of string?
Right.
It depends. It depends on the fighter. It depends on the person. It depends on the moment. What is this fighter going through? Like, as a coach, you need to know who and what they're fighting for. What are their whys? And there might be something going on with this person, right? Like, you know, there's so many layers to that.
Yeah.
And but that moment, I think we all felt for him. Like there was a human moment there where you're like, I just don't want to be here, man. And I think every one of us thought, man, I've had that feeling before, and whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Might be your work where it's like, you know what, dude, I just give me the fuck out of here.
Yeah. So the way I look at it from him perspective, particularly, is that I feel like for a guy like him, the fighter that he is, if you can't outbox type guys, because he's not a puncher, he's not one of those guys that's gonna like punch your lights out, right? So you're a boxer, and the guy that he fought was an Olympian. The guy that he lost to is the top guy, which is Bam, right? If I can't outbox these guys, why am I in it? Right? And he's proven in those moments, he probably got to the point in the fight where I can't outthink him. I can't beat him. I don't want to be here no more.
Right.
Because if you could beat him or outthink him or all those things, why wouldn't you feel comfortable?
Right.
And so now you're feeling in yourself that I don't have the skills in order to continue this.
Right.
I've reached my limit. That's what I feel like as far as that's concerned.
No, it makes a lot of sense.
Now, a guy like we talked about, they got that act right.
Right.
Those guys are hard to ever leave a sport.
Right.
Because
that's the
I
last
know
thing
at
to go,
one
huh?
moment, exactly.
Yeah.
I know
I
at
can
any
find
moment.
this, and the equalizer will
Exactly.
be
He
there.
could be whooping my ass for the whole fight.
Yeah.
Whop.
Wow. Yeah.
And so I never want to leave.
Fuck.
I never want to
Yeah.
leave this. Because I can make money and knock people out.
Right.
Salt.
100%.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's why it took my dad so long to leave.
Yeah.
I feel like because he always had that equalizer. Like you ask him right now if he could knock out Anthony Joshua, I guarantee you he'll say yes. All I need is one. All I need is one. Put me in there. He whooped my ass the whole fight. Wow.
Yeah, I love it.
Speaking of, where do you think Joshua goes from here? I thought that loss to Dubois wasn't, maybe the way he lost was surprising, but not losing to Dubois is too surprising. Like, what do you think AJ does from here?
I think he needs to get back to boxing. Like, you know what I mean? Like to like I feel like when he lost to Andy Ruiz and he came back and put on a boxing clinic, right? Like and there's still greatness within him. I still feel like there's a lot of great fights that he can do that will kind of reset that. I mean, in that weight class, it's almost like a different sport, right? You know, because you don't have a lot of the accumulative punches. You got boom, knocked out. All right, when you get up, you didn't take a lot of damage.
Yeah.
What would they do? 4 rounds?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like they didn't take it wasn't like a 12-round drawn out fight, war, and where he's got a lot of damage. I think that he comes back and if he gets back to the boxing and staying fluid, I think he comes back to normal. And he's still obviously a draw. People love him. I would love to see him in Tyson Fury fight, even if Tyson lost to
Usek.
Yeah.
Again, like I'd love to see these fights because it's a lot of good skill, a lot of good things.
Right.
Or even a good fight for him would be Deontay Wilder.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
I think Parker too.
yeah, Parker.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good fights.
They
out
fought
there.
before, right?
Yeah, they have
AJ
fought
and
before.
Parker.
They have fought before, but
And
it's still a
Parker's
good fight.
fighting Dubois.
Yeah.
Coming up, right?
And I think that like that's another guy, AJ. That's Parker.
Yeah.
That's
Joseph
coming.
Parker.
Yeah, Joseph Parker. That's coming back and kind of making a resurgence. I mean, he was champion before.
You got
but
that
lost.
fucking get right.
Yeah. He does.
Parker can crack that.
He's also got that, whatever the chin version of Get Right is, he's got that too.
Got that Ray Cepho.
Yes, because that dude could take a beating.
Yeah.
Zhili Zhang hit him with some shots in that fight.
That was a great fight.
That was a great fight,
great
and Parker stuck it out.
Yep.
Yeah, AJ. I'm interested to see what AJ does. And then Fury Usyk, the rematch. How do you see that one? How do you kind of see that going? Because I thought Fury. Not to cut you off, sorry, but I just thought Fury fucked up in that fight. Like I thought he was on cruise control after round like 4, and then by like round 7, he kind of 8 is when he got caught, I think, or whatever. But yeah, how do you see that rematch going?
I hope that he changes the tactics in the fight. Like I feel like he could easily, have different like things that he could do, like lay on, put your weight on him a little bit,
sag on him a little bit more, make him pummel.
Exactly, like
collar
make him
tie.
Make him feel you. You know what I mean, and then go into boxing, and then go back to that, and kind of like change it. Like you said, he was like on cruise control, like he was like boxing, moving around. How you have this little guy, like pressing you?
That was
around.
something we really prepared for. Dewey had him really prepared for that because we thought we would see a lot of that clinch work. And that's where I think Francis actually surprised Tyson.
Yeah,
we were the ones initiating it, but doing it more from a tie standpoint.
Yeah.
Right.
And
I don't think that works with an MMA guy who
is accustomed to it.
Who's accustomed to grappling.
Yeah.
Like, not that Francis is a wrestler or anything, but like he's accustomed
now.
to grappling. Yeah, but he's accustomed to grappling. And I think after like 2 or 3 rounds where Fury was trying to wrap him up and Francis just kind of got out of it, I think that he kind of got away from that with Francis. Because, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think you can do that with an MMA guy too much. With Usyk, it should work.
Even but like what Shane's saying, like size-wise, like that would just be easy guy, like where Tyson should be able to grab onto. Whereas when he tried to clinch up with Francis a few times, it was just fucking pop him up.
Yeah,
and then it was like we always talked about it too during camp. Like if he grabs a hold of you, got to make him fucking pay.
Yep.
Yeah.
At some point, because he's just gonna keep doing it. If we don't make this motherfucker pay, he keep putting his hand in the cookie jar.
Yeah.
Yep.
I thought though, similar to Bivol, I thought Fury should have just jab him, bro. You're 9 feet tall. Just jab him and keep him. I mean, I know he's a little tank and everything, but like, and I think he was doing that in rounds like 4, 5, 6, 7. That's when he was winning those rounds against Usyk, but it seems like he kind of got away from it. But yeah, you think just sag on him a little, like the Wilder kind of?
Yeah.
Like the Wilder fights?
Make him feel your body. Make him feel like just like weighing on him, and then add more body shots. Usyk doesn't like body shots at all. Even
that's a great point.
Even the shots that he landed on him, I think he got dropped by. Well, they said it was a low blow, but that was a body shot.
Belt,
that was a body shot in my opinion. But nevertheless, I feel like that would be good. Hang on him, hit him. Like anywhere, just hit him in the body, hit him in the back, arm, anything. Just have him feel you, and then you have a different fight. Maybe you weigh on him a little bit more, and then can take advantage of that jab or take advantage of that movement. But if you only have one gear, then I know how to figure you out.
Right.
And that guy, again, he's like Lara. If you let him think,
he's
gonna destroy you.
You like Fury in the rematch, or you like?
I like greatness in boxing. So I want to see Tyson be great. I want to see that be a trilogy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so the only way that to happen is if you see Tyson win and see him change. And then you see a great trilogy. So that's what I want.
That fight's this Saturday, right? I think?
Yeah.
21st? Yeah. By the time this comes out on Tuesday. Yeah. We were speaking earlier about you realizing, at what age did you realize what your dad did for a living? You have kids now.
Yeah.
Like, do they talk to you about boxing, any of them? And are they interested in it? How do you approach those conversations?
My son Zayden, he loves boxing. Anytime my dad's around, he always wants to come to the gym with me. He's over at at your gym. He loves fighting. So he's an amateur boxer now. He has one fight. We took him to the title tournament, and he won his first fight. So, he loves it. It's just hard for me because I'm the one that kind of trains him and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And so trying to train him and take him to all the sparring sessions and stuff like that to get prepared for a fight, I feel like I haven't put enough in time for that. But he loves it. I just let him come to one of my fights, I didn't want him to go. I don't want him to go to all of my fights. I get nervous, just having him there. And even the time that he came to my fight, he cried. I won. He cried.
The emotional release,
Right.
That adrenaline dump, like fuck.
Yeah, it's a lot, and he even said it was a lot. So, and it took forever for me to let him go to that fight. So, I don't know. I don't particularly love my kids going to my fights, but maybe later I'll let them go more. My other kids have never been to my fights.
No.
Yeah.
How do you you just said like it's hard to balance, like you're still a full-time fighter and your son is an amateur now. Like how have you tried to balance that? Like it's work life at the highest level.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How do you try to balance that?
Well, I try to spend as much time as possible. Luckily, my kids are homeschooled, so I can take them essentially to the gym or do whatever they have to do. We're not restricted in that regard. And my boxing schedule is fairly flexible, so I try to do my best to have all of that kind of work together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you train alongside him ever? Like,
Yeah.
How's that?
Dude.
That's got to be
Awesome.
so cool. Yeah.
He loves it, especially when my dad's in town.
3 generations training in the gym.
I love my dad being around. My camps and stuff like that. Like I don't feel like as of right now that I would want him to be necessarily my coach.
Yeah.
But I love having that energy around.
Yeah.
That's what I was just going to ask you. So he doesn't train you per se, but like, do you lean on him a
Of course,
lot?
absolutely.
Like, how does that work?
I love him being my dad. You know what I mean? Like I didn't get into this sport because I wanted you to be my coach. I got in the sport because I love it like you. And so I want to do it like you. And obviously that's a little bit difficult for him because how he got into the sport is with my grandfather. Right. And so it's a little bit different as far as that's concerned. So like he looks at it like, well, this is like kind of a family thing. Right. And I understand that it is. But his dad wasn't a Hall of Fame great fighter.
Right.
My dad is.
Right.
Right. And that's hard to deal with. Not from a standpoint of like, I don't like that. Mm-hmm. It's more so from a standpoint of like, I can do it too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I want to show me. Mm-hmm. And it's hard to show me when you're around for everybody else. Right. And this is all perception.
Yeah.
Right. So people are going to constantly compare me and size me up to you if you're always next to me.
Yeah.
So, but if you're not next to me, and like right next to me, then then we can have that little bit of separation where people can see me for me and they go, well, yeah, okay. Right. But if you're always next to me and you're training me and they go, yeah, he's nothing like you. You're training him, but he's nothing like you. He's nothing like you. He's nothing like you. And like, so I don't want that around. Like I said, I did this for me because I felt like it was in me. When I got punched in the nose, I wanted that back.
Yeah.
Yes, I do feel like your DNA is within me.
Right.
And that drive is within me, but I have to play it out for myself. That's why a lot of fighters that their dad was also a great fighter don't have the same way, because how could I be as hungry as you if you don't allow me to go through the struggles?
Right.
Let me go through my own struggles like you had to go through. Right. And so that was actually a conversation I had with my dad. Like I gotta do me.
Right.
Like I gotta be able to struggle through this. And I understand that you want to tell me like, you gotta do it this way because I did it this way. I get that. I understand. Right. But in this conversation, we're peers. Mm-hmm. I know you're my dad, and I love you, and I respect you in that. But in this conversation right now, when we talking about boxing, we talking about what I love to do, this is mine.
Yeah.
Man, that brings up so many interesting questions. I look at it this and go like, because your style might not fit how your dad boxed. So your dad essentially has a style or a way about him, and that's how he's going to coach for you. And maybe that doesn't fit the boxer that you are, right? Or the style that you might be. I see that a lot with Ray. Ray Cephalo will coach his style of the way that he fought, and not a lot of people can do what Ray does.
Right.
Yeah.
So the adaptability of being a good coach sometimes is difficult for guys who are Hall of Famers like your dad.
Yeah.
Right? Because sees a little bit of tunnel vision, right? Like, this is how I did it. This is my style. This is what I look at. You know, maybe the technical things of the way you throw punches or everything else, but your style might be your own versus somebody else's.
Yeah.
And I understand from his standpoint, right? Like, it's like, if I want best for you and this is how I did it, why, like, do it like this.
Do it
Right.
like me.
Right.
Right? So I get that. I
It's
get
tried
that.
and true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I get that. Whereas you take aspects, in my opinion, you have to take aspects of that, right? Like, I use what can be applied to me, and if it works for me, then I take it. If it doesn't work for me, and it doesn't fit me, then I get rid of it.
Yep.
And if you are trying to hold real tight to that, then I got to get rid of that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But if you let me be able to play with it and use it and paint with it,
Right.
and I go, wow, okay, I can use this, then okay.
Yeah.
But and I think that when it comes to me, I think my dad sometimes gets too tight with it, especially when it comes to this moment, right? Of like, you're on that precipice of like greatness, where you could be a champion, and I want it badly for you, right? It's like, I get that, I appreciate that, I love that, but I got to do it myself.
Have you ever had him in your corner?
Of course, he's my first coach.
Copy.
He's my first coach.
How did it feel having him in the corner?
It's good for me. It just feels like literally, like, I've had moments where, like, I'm walking to the ring and people are asking to take pictures with him. And it's like, I've literally told people, like, yo, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like,
He's coach right now.
yeah. Like, I know that, and my dad is cool. He wants to say,
Yeah.
he's
Yeah,
on.
yeah,
You know what I mean? I'm like,
You're like, hey, get over here.
like, yeah, I'm telling you,
Yeah.
get the fuck out of here. What are you guys doing? We about to go to a fight right now. Literally,
Yeah.
I'm walking to the ring. Like, chill out, bro.
I love it. Yeah.
So, you know, and so now, like, it's like, yeah, like, be Sugar Shane. You know, when you come to my fights, be Sugar Shane.
Yeah.
You go ahead and do that. I don't care, right? Because you're not my coach right now. So you just be Sugar Shane.
Yeah.
So we were chopping it up with the boys last night, and I was telling Ige that you were coming on, and Dan kind of had a great question. He said, if you had your choice of a KO, right, what technique would it be? Would it be left hook, right cross? And he's like, you know, I kind of wanted to see what he would say.
Yeah.
Because Dan's always the body shot guy.
Okay.
Right? He said, so, you know, I was just curious, like, what was Shane, if you had your pick, ESPN top 10, number one,
Yeah.
what is it?
I would definitely have to say probably left hook.
Left hook.
Left hook knockout.
How would you set it up?
Body shot.
Yeah, right hand of the body. Bang.
Right hand of the body, climb the ladder,
Yeah.
pull the lawnmower cord.
Yeah.
Yep.
Bro, I'll tell you what, man. I haven't held a left hook like yours.
Thank you.
I'm telling you, pound for pound, like Puna, that dude hits, but like the way Puna hits is the fluid, the way he does it. It was like a whip.
Yeah.
And at the end of that whip was a motherfucking car battery. Right? That's the best way I can tell you, bro. Because I remember holding it on that and them winnings. I'm like, damn, I wish I had a sponge or something to stick in this fucking palm.
Yeah.
Because you can crack, my friend.
Yeah, my dad always gets upset with me because he's like, you know, you punch so hard and like you're so great, like in these moments, and like people haven't seen the best of you yet.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't. And I was thinking about that. Like, I don't have too many like highlight reel knockouts. Like, I don't have like that type of thing. And you would think like a guy like me, with like as much like power as I feel like I have, like it would be that. So I gotta find that switch within me to.
Well, we just put it in the universe, my friend. You're
Yeah. Exactly.
left hooking somebody. Left hooker.
Yeah.
Remember that left hooker.
Bang,
All right. Top 5
Okay.
boxing movies of all time. Your top 5.
For me, because I feel like it is me, Creed.
Number 1?
1 and 2.
1 and 2.
One
Got you.
and 2. Both, I feel like those movies are like me. It's like the story that I'm trying to tell.
Love it.
Like right now. You know what I mean? It's like I want that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I love those. Southpaw, I like that one. Rocky. Which Rocky? I can't think off the top of my head. It's been so.
We'll say Rocky.
Yeah.
Rocky.
Yeah.
And then what else? What's another one? That's all I can think of right
What was the
now.
one with Christian Bale, the fighter? The Mickey Ward?
Is it Fighter? Yeah.
Love
Mickey
that one
Ward.
too.
Yeah. Mark Wahlberg and Christian Bale.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
That's a
okay.
good one, man.
Yeah,
I
I
like
like
that one too.
And then I like Hurricane.
Hurricane was
Hurricane.
good,
Okay.
man.
Yeah. Reuben Carter.
Yes.
Denzel.
Yeah, good-
Nobody
good-
talks about that movie
good
ever.
call, bro.
It never comes up in top fives, and I fucking love that movie, bro.
What
It's
was the
so
song,
good.
the Hurricane song? Who sang that? Bob Dylan?
I don't
Come on, fun
remember.
fact.
Yeah, I don't remember who it was, but let me see the Hurricane song. Yeah, Bob Dylan.
Dylan.
Yep. Look at you. Yeah, I love the Hurricane. Man, that's so. I keep thinking while you guys are talking about how you approach your relationship with your dad. I feel like that's so self-aware, because it's like in the public eye's mind and the average Joe's mind, it's like you have a cheat code, right? You have like the secret weapon, but in order for you to be successful, it's like no, like I have to. How can I be as hungry as you if you're helping me eat? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Type mindset, and I think that's like so
You gotta
self-aware.
allow me to go hunt.
Yeah, you got to let me go hunt. Let
Yeah.
me fail. Let me
Yeah.
sleep on a couch. Let me,
Right.
reuse old whatever it is. Like
Yeah.
let me
Yeah.
get hand-me-downs. Like let me do this thing on my own. So, and then I think of like other, father-son athletes like LeBron and Bronny right now is
Sure.
the most relevant, or Ken Griffey and his
Sure.
son, and I
But
think
dude,
about all
credit
these
to your
things.
dad.
Yeah, for taking a step back too.
Credit to your
Yes.
dad, because it takes a lot, especially
Yeah.
a dad of your dad's caliber of boxer,
Right.
for him to say, okay, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because there would be a lot of dads that would just be pushing it on
Yeah.
us. Like, oh, you in my, let me tell you how to do it,
Right.
Or let me show you.
Right.
That just says more about your dad.
Absolutely.
Not only allowing that, or
Right.
not allowing it, but just respecting your wishes.
Respecting it, yeah. That's why you have that in your Instagram bio, that I'm not my father and I'm not trying to be.
You're right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I was going to ask you about that, but now it all makes
Yeah.
complete and total sense.
Yeah, because I mean that's the first question people ask. You
Right.
know what I mean? And even my dad, like he wanted me to be Sugar Shane Mosley Jr.
Yeah.
And
Carbon
I have
copy.
to tell people like, yo, like that's my Sugar Shane's my dad.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm not that guy. You know what I
Right.
mean? Not to say that I'm not trying to be like Sugar. You know what I mean? Like or
Right.
like because Sugar was held as like a prestige, right? And
Right.
I get that, right? Sugar Sean O'Malley,
Right.
But like it's like I don't want to take that name because he's my dad. I want to earn that
I
name.
wanna earn
if,
that
if
name.
that's
Love it,
what
Right.
it came.
Sugar Ray,
came
Sugar
to.
Shane. And
Exactly.
then
If it came to that, but I always think when they're like, oh, like why don't you have like a moniker or something like that? I always think of I am who I am. I am who I am. That's
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah.
Right?
Do you have a favorite moment of your dad's career that you were either present for, like there in the arena,
Yeah.
or on TV or anything? What is it?
So we talked about it, which was when my dad
Him
fought.
beating the shit out of Margarito.
When he fought Margarita. and so like we had talked about also too, like how like he was trying to wear the plaster of Paris, and I said basically he could have had that, he still was gonna lose, and it was because I felt it in the back.
Yeah.
So like when I went back to see my dad before he went out, and literally it was like right before he went out, he goes, watch this. Like just like that.
That gives me
Love it.
chills.
I
Just
love
like
it.
that
Watch
gives me
this.
Cold,
chills.
bro.
Yeah.
And walks out. Like and just walks. And then that happens.
Wow.
But like when I walked in there, you could just feel it. You could just feel the energy in there of like, there's nothing this guy could do. And then obviously because my coach was also Brother Nazim Richardson, who was my dad's coach, he told me what happened and all that stuff and all the controversy that was going on, And so, but I hadn't talked to my dad about it. They were like, just let him be wherever he's at. Don't bring it up, nothing like that. I'm like, all right, yeah, he's got a fight to do. And then, like I said, he just goes and says that, walk to the arena.
Dog walks.
Bro, that's cold blooded.
Hell yeah.
Watch this.
Watch this.
Beat the
I
shit.
think that, like, because arguably, Cotto wasn't the same after that Margarito fight.
Yeah.
Like, because, later on, like you saw Cotto slowing down, and he was a killer leading up to that. And then after that, he wasn't the same. Like, do you think that played into like your father's like? I don't know. Like, was it like an emotional fight? Like you fucked up a peer, ruined his career. Now you're trying to do the same to me. And he wasn't a great boxer, Margarito.
Yeah.
He was good. But
In my opinion, I just felt like that style couldn't beat my dad, and everybody was counting my dad out. At the time, my parents were actually getting a divorce, and so like everybody was like, he was going through like everything at that time. And I just think that my dad's one of those guys that internalizes all of that and just goes, watch this. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
That shit is so cool.
And the same like happened with the fight. It was just like, yeah, that's what you're trying to do. Watch this.
Oh yeah.
All right. And sure enough, he just goes out and says, watch this.
Love it.
And just smashes it. Right?
Smashes him.
Yeah. Well, because you go on to say that like a guy isn't great like he was, but then he gets caught with that. That means you had that all along. That means that was the champion, not you. And I know guys personally that like in sparring, like so they would say that he would use it in sparring because they said
That's
that like.
fucked up.
And I'm like, bro, like
man.
what a piece of shit.
Yeah.
I don't know how he was able to fight after that. I know that Cotto wanted his revenge, but like at a certain point, bro, like I think that they should have just been, you know what?
You out.
You're out.
Yeah.
And you're never allowed in
Ostracized.
here. You're never allowed in here. And yeah, bro, like I feel like he should have got some jail time too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean
shit,
that dude.
about
You
that,
you are
yeah.
literally. It's like attempted murder
Yeah,
with those things.
yeah.
Like,
I mean, you literally broke this guy's orbital bone. You could have killed him.
yeah,
It's attempted
Yeah,
murder, in
fuck,
my
I never thought of
opinion,
it that
right?
way.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
And then after that fight was Floyd,
Yeah.
right? What do you? He had Floyd on skates, bro. Floyd held on for dear life. He had Floyd on skates. What do you remember about that night? Anything? Or were you there? Or?
yeah, I just think my dad was a little bit too tense for that moment. I feel like if you just, weren't trying to prove something, right? Of like, I could hurt you, or I can knock you out, or I'm just as fast as you, or, like that whole thing,
Yeah.
right? Which I feel like obviously fighters go through because, Floyd is, a great fighter.
Yeah.
And so you go, well, I'm just as fast as you. Even you might be younger than me, but, because my dad was, I think, 39 at the time when we fought him. So, like, I think he was still trying to, like, watch this. I'll prove this to you.
Yeah.
And I think blew his load too soon, right? Let's take our time. Let's get in here. Boom, right? Boom, boom, boom. Okay, that's what you're doing. Okay. All right, there's my shot, right? Because if that shot happens 6th round, 7th, 8th, something like that, it's a different fight.
Yeah.
That happened in the 2nd round.
I was gonna say it was like early,
was the
second,
second
third.
round.
Yeah.
And, like, then you
That
lose.
motherfucker was like this.
Yeah.
He was holding on tight, bro.
So, but again, if that same shot happens in the 6th, 7th
It's a
round,
wrap.
it's over.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a wrap.
So I think that if he would have just held on to it for a little bit, held on to that energy just a little bit longer,
Yeah.
because my dad's a great fighter and he could have easily maintained that, right? Why are you trying to knock him out so quick? I mean, I mean, for a legacy standpoint,
Yeah.
you knocked him out in the 2nd round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, wow. But,
Yeah.
you held on to it just a little bit longer, and I think that would have changed some things. And obviously, it would have been a way different fight. I feel like he would have also been able to box him a little bit better later, right? Because if you're 39 years old, you blow your load like that, trying to knock him out, you would believe that you're going to knock him out. You hurt him bad twice. The energy's gone. The energy bar is all the way down here, whereas he has a little bit more. So I think, and then he does what Floyd does.
Yeah.
Just picks him apart.
Were they like friends or close before or after that?
I mean,
After that, I guess I should say.
I guess they're friendly. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like they're before and after, every time you see him.
Yeah.
I think you're a great fighter, stuff like that.
I have the craziest story that is, I told Vic this last week when we knew you were coming on.
Yeah.
So my mom used to live on Summerlin Parkway in Town Center. 24-hour fitness and Agassi Fitness, right?
Yeah.
I find out, I don't even remember. I used to go hoop there all the time. And I find out Floyd goes Tuesdays and Thursday nights. This is 2011-ish, like right after I moved out here. 2010, 11, something like that. Because they fought in 09, 10, something.
10.
10. So it was after that fight. And so we'd go hoop with Floyd and his crew. Like literally every Tuesday, Thursday, 1 a.m. He always was there. We'd go play till like 3, 4 in the morning.
Wow.
I'd go home. Like one day we're there, Thursday. Floyd walks in. You know, everybody's what's up, this and that. Someone's like on the phone. They're like, yeah, just tell Shane come up. Blah 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 blah. And I'm like a huge boxing fan, so just being there with Floyd like is like crazy. Like, why am I playing basketball with Floyd Mayweather? That's ridiculous. Yeah. And then he said, and I'm like, I look at my boy. I'm like, did he say Shane? He's like, yeah. I was like, is Shane Mosley about to come play basketball right now? And he was like, I don't know, whatever. Fucking 5 minutes later, your dad walks through the door. I said, am I about to play basketball with Floyd Mayweather and Shane Mosley? Like, what the hell is going on, bro?
Yeah.
And we hooped for like hours.
Yeah.
I think your dad left, I think earlier, but it was like the crazy, as a boxing fan, to be playing basketball, which is the game I love, with like two of the greatest ever. I just had to tell you that moment because it was like I'll never forget it, bro. I was like 20.
How'd you do, bro?
I did good.
Really?
Yeah. I used to bust their, not Floyd and his team. I used to bust their ass. Yeah. I think me and your dad were on the same team.
Okay.
I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. That's awesome.
He'll for sure never remember that, but it was a moment that like, and Floyd would continue to come, but that was the only time he came. Yeah. And it was just like, for a 21-year-old kid, like it was the coolest shit ever, awesome. Bro.
That's awesome. Yeah, my dad loves pickup basketball.
Yeah, dude. It was, and they were guarding each other, and I was like, these motherfuckers just fought like 9 months ago, and now they're like doing this thing, and it was cool, awesome. Man. It was really, really
That's
cool.
That's actually how my dad tore both of his Achilles.
Really?
He was playing basketball.
Yeah, pickup Jamal Hill.
Yeah.
I
mean, it's like, bro, like, fighters shouldn't be playing basketball because it's like the worst thing ever. You know, especially like pickup basketball. I can understand if you like in a league and there's a little bit more like rules and stuff like that, but pickup basketball, guys don't care. Yeah. Like, you don't care that you're professional about it. That's why they gonna like jam you a little more.
If anything, they're gonna do it a little more. Exactly.
You think you better than us?
A forearm, an elbow. But yeah, that's just like, I tell that story literally to anyone that'll listen that's a boxing fan. I'm like, bro, let me tell you this. Two of the greatest fucking welterweights of all time. I played basketball with both of them.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that was a cool little story. I have another top 5 for you. Top 5, since you're kind of middleweight, super middleweight. Yeah. Top 5 middleweights, super middleweights of all time, in your opinion.
Well, James Toney, Roy Jones.
Definitely top 2.
Up there. Marvin Hagler.
Yep.
Who else? I mean, Canelo has got to be up there. Gotta.
Do you think he's done enough at 60 and 68 in particular? Like, because I know he was like 54 for so long.
I mean, he's the first super middleweight.
He looked at me like, crazy. Has Canelo done enough? Like, no, I know Canelo's done enough, but I meant like in those weight classes.
But at 68, right? He's done something that nobody ever has done before, which is got in the 4-belt era. He got all the 4 belts, right? And then he's the first Mexican to ever do that, right? So, I mean, with that alone, I mean, you would have to say that he has definitely cemented himself. I mean, then he has the fights with Triple G. You know what I mean? Which 2 were at 60, 1 was at 68. I mean, just that alone, I feel like should be
our girl Adelaide Bird.
Adelaide,
that's your favorite.
I'm cool with her, man. I actually like her a lot. She's such a sweet lady.
Yeah,
and her daughter Mallory, like they're really good people. You know,
I just talking about that.
I think at a certain point though, like if you have that many questionable scorecards, in both MMA and boxing, you know, you start to look at it like this is a business, and you go, okay.
You start leaning sideways.
Who you in business with? I mean, you know what I mean? And
that was something I wanted to ask you. Like, what is your thoughts with the corrupt? Is there like, how do you feel about the? So I hate to use that word, right? Like,
but
you're accusing.
Okay,
it's like,
so what I think that will clear up everything, and I know a lot of fight fans are not for this. Dana White is totally against it, but if I know the score and I know where I'm at, I know what I have to do.
Sure.
And you may know what I have to do.
Sure.
But so do I.
Right.
So if I know that I beat you in that round, I can do this. And if there's guys that run, and they'll run if there's no scorecard or there is scorecard.
Gamemanship.
Exactly. So I'd rather know if you're up and you're running then I gotta go kill you.
Gotta go get you out. Yeah.
Rather than I don't know.
Sure.
Maybe I won the first round. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I could just coast.
Right.
Like he's running around. I think I won the first two. My coaches say I won the first two because they don't know either. Everybody's blind.
Right.
Why are we running around with our heads cut off?
Right.
Yeah.
At least we know. And no, that doesn't change the corruption, but it changes who I am and how I can approach the situation.
Yeah, I have a little
because
bit of
I'm the
control.
one that is in here. I have all the control.
That's a
If I
great
know,
point.
if I know where it's at, and now everybody knows that I know.
Right.
So they know that you knew that you were down 2 rounds to 1 or 2 rounds and to 0, and you didn't do nothing about it.
That's right. But I think to your point, when you see greatness in sports, Tom Brady knew he was down 28-3, right? And that's when you go the comebacks and the greatness and that kind of thing. Oh, this dude's down 5-6 rounds. Maybe he don't think he's down. Maybe exactly, but the approach changes, the tact changes. I love that idea.
But also everything changes. The whole sport evolves. You know why? Because coaches now know. Now we're studying judges, like you guys talked about.
Yeah.
Now you guys are
Study
speaking
judges.
in the corner, right?
Yeah.
Because of that reason.
Sure.
But now I know. Okay, this judge did this way. Okay, now I see. I have a record book. I can look back at the fights, and now they show it now of like this is how they scored every single round. You could still do that to a certain extent, but they're not honest about it.
Right.
So, but if they have to be honest about it, and now we know, for a fact this is how they judge.
Yep.
Okay. Now you don't have to tell me. I can see how you judge, and now I know how to approach this fight. And now I have a
100%.
whole team looking for it. Now guys that are I got assistants. Hey, make sure who we having? Okay.
Got
go
you.
go check these guys out.
Yep.
Make sure so we know how to approach this fight differently.
Yeah.
Or better.
No, legit, the fight starts, and sometimes you're not privy to that information prior to the fight. So I look on the apron and see, okay, I see Derek clearly, I see Sal, I see Mike Bell, I see Adelaide, whoever, right? And so, for example, Roman Dolidze is fighting Trevin Giles, and Roman Dolidze is putting on a grappling clinic, but Trevin Giles is snapping his jab. His focus and what he's winning is all boxing, right? And I remember Adelaide was one of the judges, and my first instinct was to Roman, hey, you need to pick up the pace on the striking a little bit more, because Adelaide, in my mind, and the way she scores historically, is not going to give you this type of credit for the grappling acumen that you're showing. Not say she doesn't know about it, but that's not her strong suit, right? So, bro, we lost the split decision that he was like, oh, I won this fight. I'm like, she's not going to know fucking 50-50 heel hooks, dude. Yeah. And that's just the way it is. That's the nature of it. But, and sometimes it's to the judge's knowledge in the scheme of the sport, right?
Yeah.
So, interesting.
And maybe that same thing does elevate the other side.
Right.
Because now we hold them accountable. Now we make sure that they're doing rounds where they're judging maybe amateur MMA fights or something like that. So they get a better understanding of it. And
broader scope of
exactly.
knowledge.
Or maybe they could tell us why they did that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Just put it as simple
I
effectiveness.
love that.
Accountability.
I love that. Just tell me why you scored it this way. And but I feel like they don't do that because they don't want to show if they're incompetent, right? They don't put a microphone in front of them because they might say something where they go, and we all go, whoa.
But shouldn't we know that? Like, shouldn't that be public knowledge? If you're incompetent at your job, I don't want you doing your job. I don't want an incompetent pilot.
Find somebody that's competent.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I swear to you, I feel like that's why they hide. They don't let the judges speak in front of people.
But why does the sport allow that?
Yeah, that's my question.
Why does the sport allow that?
Yeah.
I think
talking
because
about
we're slaves to the commissions, right? Like wherever we go, it's the commissions that make that decision. Where the promoter doesn't have that. Like for years, remember, like people would say the UFC's got to get better judges.
Yeah.
Look, it's not the UFC that's appointing these judges. It's the athletic commissions. But the business side of things that you're saying, right? There's money to be made.
But wouldn't there? I mean, just business 101. Wouldn't there be more money to be made if it's a better product? Like if you're getting the
because
better.
I was to the understanding, at least as far as I know in boxing, that the commission gets a percentage of what the revenue of the purses are. So if there's bigger money, you get a percentage of that. How can't you appoint better people if you get making money?
I mean, there's a lot more money to be made when it's a draw.
Yeah. That Canelo Triple G, that first fight, was it the first fight?
First fight.
Yeah, was just ridiculous. That scorecard.
Who do you feel like won?
I thought Triple G won. Clearly. I thought it was very clear. I'm not saying he like beat him, washed him out, but he won the fight. He won the fight. And they gave that one a draw, right? And then the second one they gave to Canelo.
I feel like Canelo definitely won
the
fight.
Which I thought too. I thought maybe you could say it was a draw, but I thought Canelo won the fight. Yeah. And then the third one,
it was washed.
But so that's crazy. Wait, who was your fifth? You said Tony, Roy Jones.
I didn't have a fifth yet.
Hagler.
We got
carried away.
Let me see who is it. That's hard, man.
I know.
There's a lot of good ones. I mean, the first one that comes to my head is Joe McClain.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I'm probably just missing. I didn't get updated on my boxing
middleweight history.
History. We'll fill it in later when you text me. Hold on, wait.
Yeah, exactly. I think. Let's get you out of here on this 2025 roadmap. Lara, we know number one. What is it? When would you like that fight? How many times do you want to fight next year? What's the 2025 roadmap look like for Shane Mosley Jr.?
Yeah, man. Best case scenario is I fight two of the champions. Obviously you go championship, defense, unify, and then, let's go undisputed, like that type of thing. So that's kind of my goal of best case scenario. But if I had to just fast track it, I'd just go Lara, winner of Carlos Adames and Hamza, Shiraz Hamza, something like that. I don't know how to say his name. But him, so they're fighting, I think in February or something like that. So the winner of that, I fight that guy and then go fight Janibek.
Yeah.
Right. I've been in this game for 10 years. I got
time to
more,
roll.
Time to work. Yeah.
I got more experience than I need. Let's go handle make business. Handle this business. So that's what I want to do. And then, if Canelo's there, I'm in Huckleberry.
Let's
go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, why not?
Why not?
You just go and get the biggest fights you can, especially, like at my age, might as well. I'm going to be 34 on Wednesday. And so you just keep it rolling. Get as much money as you can.
Bro.
Get out of here.
Happy early birthday.
Yeah, happy early birthday.
Appreciate it.
Anything else?
No, man. Just, again, love your energy. Love having you in the gym. You've been such a huge asset for a lot of the guys that I really wish that more guys were picking your brain as much as I do. And I know guys, when they see you're working out and no one wants to, take time away from what you're doing. But that's the one thing I've always noticed. Mid-workout with Q, you and I will sit and chop it up for 15, 20 minutes. Right. I'm like, he's in the middle of his shit. But every exchange I ever have with you, I always leave thinking more about combat sports or elevating my knowledge. Yeah. And, dude, you're just such a huge asset for all of us in Extreme Couture, and couldn't be more thankful having you there, brother.
Yeah, well, they say the best way to learn is to teach.
Sure.
So if somebody's picking my brain, I would love to do that because it only helps me.
Yeah.
Because I got to think about, okay, how would I do that? Or how could I help you do that? And then that helps me be my best.
Well, that's why I fuck with you, man. Love having you in the gym, bro. Real one.
Awesome. Thank you for coming on the show, man. We really appreciate it. Great to talk to you. And, we'll do it again soon, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure.
I want to see your pickup basketball game. I think you're full of shit right now.
Hey, man. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, man, that was a time. I would love to do that again. All right, well, that does it for another episode of Verse Us with Eric Nicksick. Please make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube. Comment below who you want to see on the show, any questions you have for Eric or the show. Make sure you follow at VSUS Pod on all social media, and make sure you listen to the show anywhere you get your podcast. For Eric and Shane, I'm Randy. We'll see you guys next time.